Hello and welcome to another episode of Swim Sets by the Pool. This is the podcast where you get free swim workouts and tips on how to swim better. My name's Nathan Cohen. I'm a professional triathlete, and with me is former D1 collegiate swimmer, two-time Olympic trials contender, and now 70.3 triathlon finisher, Kyle Brill. How are you doing, Kyle?
Thank you. I'm good. I'm good. Emphasis on finisher there because there's not much else to be said about that. I mean, there's a lot to be said about the race, but in terms of how it went down, it's definitely rough turning into a triathlete as being a pure swimmer. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah,
But yeah, thank
especially when you're used to just competing for like 2 to 4 minutes, and then you go to like a 4+ hour long race. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, it was tough. Yeah, it was not ideal, but learned a lot from it. So
yeah, that's awesome. So we're gonna dive into Kyle's Santa Cruz 70.3 episode or race on this episode, and we're gonna talk about one of the sessions he did, one of the swim workouts he did leading up to it, and he's gonna kind of explain why he felt like that was helpful for him. And spoiler alert, Kyle had the fastest age group swim out of everyone in the race. I think he would have been up there with the pros, but the way it works out in these age group races is the pros kind of start a little bit further ahead than the age groupers, so the times are a little quicker. And like when I raced Boise 70.3 in the pro race, we probably started a solid 100 meters further into the water than the age groupers, so his time was a little bit slower than the pros, but not by much.
I think the victory for me is I never got my heart rate above 150. I think the whole swim. So I think
That's
it was
true.
up above 150 when I ran into the water, and so I like at least I saved a lot of energy even if I didn't get the pros. But and then next time I might
Yeah, that'll be good.
take that and have to floor it for the swim, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. But anyways, so we have to start the episode with a little quick tip. And my quick tip is something I'm making up right now on the spot because I didn't write something down, but I'm just going to roll with it. Um, if you're doing open water swimming and you are not sure about what kind of what swimsuit to wear, what wetsuit to wear, or anything like that, I think it's always worth it to try and get in the water the day before your event if that's possible. So whether that's a triathlon or an open water swim, if you can get in the water the day before, if it's clean water, I'm going to specify if it's clean, because sometimes in at least triathlons I've done, the water's been kind of gross, but at least kind of know the conditions you're going to be swimming in so you're not like shocked by the conditions, because I think a lot of people get nervous with open water, and the best way I think to help overcome that nervousness is just to get yourself familiar with the conditions. So yeah, that's my little quick tip for this episode.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, it definitely is. It's super nice, especially if you're, I know with wetsuits, I know how long they take to dry, but if you're able to wear your wetsuit like at least once if you bought a new one. I mean, I just had that issue. Like I wasn't really aware of how wetsuits worked, and I realized that they can take in a little bit of water, but they're not supposed to completely flood with water right when you jump in. And mine just was like my whole chest was inflated and my arms were covered in water. And every stroke I took, it was probably an extra 10 pounds of water I was moving with each arm. So I definitely know now I should be getting probably a bigger wetsuit that fits me better. So I wish I'd probably have had swam in the ocean with it more recently so I could have taken that into account. So yeah, definitely a good tip there for that.
Nice. Awesome. Well, Kyle, let's just talk through, I guess, real quick, this kind of workout that you did 1 week before Santa Cruz, and then we'll kind of like interweave it into the story of your race, for the listeners. But yeah, tell us about this set.
Yeah. So this was a pretty simple set. I don't like have it fully written down. It was more of kind of just I had planned it kind of as I was getting to the pool kind of thing. I knew what the main part of it needed to be, but I was about a week out. It was long course, which is always really nice. I feel like it's a lot less impact, especially short course. I feel like sometimes I push off those walls a little too hard, and I don't need to be doing that and I feel like I get a lot of impact from that, being barefoot and with all the running I'm doing. But yeah, long course has been really nice, especially for it mimics open water just so much better. You get more into a rhythm. So that's where I like to do most of my pace work sets, or like my sets that really kind of prepare me for Santa Cruz. And I think that the pacing is a little bit more accurate in terms of like what you're going per 100 and that kind of thing, and you can kind of match it up a little bit more. So Yeah, I kind of just did a little dryland activation. I tend to do that, especially on days where I'm a little more tired and the the legs and arms need a little more blood flow, or if it's in the morning and I haven't kind of woken up yet. So I did some scap push ups and some dynamic stretching. I didn't do anything too rigorous, but just enough to kind of where I felt like loose and the blood was flowing. And yeah, and then I got in and did about a 1200 warm up, like a 200 just easy, just kind of wake up, and then some kicking. And then I did like I always like to warm up my lungs too. I think I said this in a recent podcast. I love to just put some fins on, do some underwater work, and I think it's kind of cool if, especially if you're training by yourself, like coming up with your own like underwater set that's kind of quick. And it doesn't need to be too long or too strenuous. But if you say you're like long course, like if you go, you can do like a 25 underwater with fins. It's not going to really be that hard on your muscles. It's more just going to be aerobically tiring. So it's just going to get you breathing harder, pick up your heart rate without really wearing you down. So it's nice to get the legs loosened up, get the lungs, warmed up. So I've always kind of incorporated that in a set that I want to take kind of seriously and I want to be warmed up for. And after that, I did just a few. I did 850s of just some freestyle to kind of just like, and I descended 1 through 4, 4 through 8. I think I've said that on the pod before. I like that one because you kind of can start easier and kind of ease into it, and then you go once, and then you feel a little bit better, and you do it again for the 4th through 8 or the 5th through 850s, and then after that, I was ready to go. What do you think of the warm up?
No, that all sounds good. And yeah, I mean, I have been swimming with fins a lot lately because I'm just kicking because I can't really use my arm with my broken collarbone. But I did my own little underwater set was just 25 underwater, 25 easy with fins. And I'm not using my arms. So my arms are like literally at my side. I can't like streamline. So it was a little bit harder to get there. And then I did that 4 times. So 450s. But each underwater, I just went a little longer. So the first one was 25 underwater. The second one was probably like 30. And then the third one was like, I don't know, 40. And then the last one, I think I went 50 or almost 50 underwater
Wow,
with fins.
all of them. That's amazing.
And it was fun. Like it was nice. And then the rest I just did on my back floating, just getting all the oxygen back. And yeah, it was good because I can't really like get my heart rate up in the water right now. But like just by swimming, like
yeah.
because I can't really put a lot of pressure in the water, but the hypoxic stuff definitely gets you going a little.
It is interesting. Yeah. I know this is kind of off topic and we'll get back to the main set in a second here, but I had been meaning to mention this on the podcast a while back. When I was in my like prime of swimming every day, 6 days a week, whatever, 20 plus hours. I am actually better at kicking now than I was in my prime of swimming. And I thought that was really interesting because obviously my technique hasn't improved. And if it is, it's been extremely marginal for kicking. There's only so much you can kind of do. So doing all the cycling and running, probably mostly the cycling, just having that high cadence so often has made my legs just so much more durable in the water, which I found really, really cool. So now when I kick, I just like motor through the water.
Hmm.
I would have never thought. I would have thought for sure I would have been terrible at kicking once I kind of stopped doing it every day for swimming. But it is really crazy how well that can translate over. So, yeah, triathletes like you guys should definitely have a better kick than you expect in terms of competitive swimming. But I definitely
Nice.
know it's pretty fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. And also like getting your kick to in an efficient way because I know some triathletes uh their kick is not super efficient, but if you can like flex your ankle a little bit more and get like that mobility in your ankles and really like push up and down on the water with the top and bottom of your foot, I mean
Yep.
that could help you get so much higher in the water and help you get a lot of speed. I wanted to ask you something. Did you do any dryland stuff the morning of Santa Cruz before the race?
Yeah. Actually, so the morning was a little chaotic. I got to the venue about an hour and a half, and then I like forgot to pump up my tires for a transition. So I went back in there like last minute and was kind of scrambling. So then by the time I got down to the beach, I maybe like 20 minutes before I was about to start. So I kind of just did a little bit of dynamic, put my arms above my head, did a lot of arm circles to make sure the shoulders were kind of loosened up, especially with the wetsuit. And then I did get in and swim just a tiny bit. Especially with the wetsuit, I felt comfortable that I wasn't going to get too cold, and I just wanted to make sure everything was fitting correctly. But yeah, I think a little bit of dryland was really helpful for sure because you really don't get a great chance to warm up for that swim start unless you like wake up. You can manage to wake up so early that you have everything set up like, and you're just super like, yeah. I feel like it's very chaotic. So yeah, a little having a little dryland routine that you can just bust out without a second thought is actually pretty advantageous in my opinion for sure.
Nice. That's awesome. And yeah, dude, that's so important because these Ironmans, they're so early, dude. They're so early in the morning.
It's crazy. It starts at 7. That's insane. You're not getting ready at 7. You're not yeah, heading over to the venue at 7. You're in the water swimming at 7, which is just crazy, which means by 6 you kind of have to already like be mostly done with all of the preparation in the morning, which is like yeah, it's I don't think too many other competitions like have that structure. Like a lot of things start pretty well into the morning. So that yeah, it's definitely a for someone that wasn't a triathlete until recently, it's been an interesting transition getting used to that. Guys are crazy.
Yeah, for sure. So me and Kyle talked about this before. We thought it would be good for him to start about a minute back in the age group race because we knew he's a really strong swimmer. And the way Ironman triathlons work, if you're just a swimmer listening to the podcast and you're not sure, um, they do like four people at a time and they space them out 5 seconds apart. So it's like waves of people going in, not like a bunch of people all at once. So the reason why we wanted to start Kyle about a minute back because we knew he was probably going to like swim faster than all the age group athletes. So how did that go from your perspective? How did that play out? Do you think it was good? Would you have rather started in the first wave, or what are your honest thoughts?
Yeah, so I like got to the bullpen like a little bit late, and so I was fighting my way through people, and like people weren't letting me go through, and I was like trying to shove my way through to the front, and then finally like reluctantly, and then as I got closer to the front of the bullpen, people just like actually weren't letting me go in front of them. I think the first four people like they had gotten there early, and they weren't letting anyone move them out of the way, kind of thing. So I was kind of already just like several dozen people back. And I was like, I need to get here earlier and fight these people a little more if I really want to be like the first person into the water. So I started like a minute behind or so. And I caught up to there was like a front age group pack that had formed, which I wasn't sure if one would form or not. But I think like the better swimmers are going to be more focused on drafting. And one guy was pulling the whole train of like maybe 15 age group athletes or something. And then there was some pro women speckled in there as they were like some of the slower ones were getting past. But I caught up to the pack. I saw him. And then I got in a fight with like a guy. He was
What?
drafting off the leader, and I managed to get up there, and I kind of got in the way because I was trying to weasel through and pass. And he thought I was trying to steal his draft, so he like kind of pressed me like in the water, and I was like, dude, like I'm just going by, like relax. And then I caught up to the leader, dropped the leader, and then after that it was pretty easy. It was like I felt a lot more relaxed once I kind of got more clean water. It was a little chaotic getting up to that pack, but so I'll definitely probably want to start earlier if I can, so I have more clean water because it's easier for me. I don't stress out as much. Probably keeps my heart rate more down, if anything. So and sighting is a lot easier when people aren't splashing, kicking up water and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah,
that was my interpretation of it, but I
that's
don't know.
crazy. And
But
so about what point in the swim did you like catch them and pass that front age group pack?
before the first buoy, for the like, well, we there was like a pier, so it was like a rectangle. We went up to the top of the pier, then came over, and then went back down towards the beach. And so like by the time we got to the first like buoy to turn the pier, I was catching them, and I dropped the leader before we turned into the beach again, so that was pretty cool. There's like a fancy buoy turn that you can do where you roll over on your back, and I hit that and stepped on the gas to try to make sure that the pack wasn't drafting off of me. And then once I knew I had separated, I was like, okay, and then I was able to kind of get back in an easier groove again. But I didn't want to. I didn't want everyone following me. I didn't want to be towing 15 people. So I was like, it's worth speeding up for a few strokes to make sure they don't all stay on my butt.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Yeah, so it sounds like the age groupers are like kind of aggressive at the start of the race. Cause like that is not the vibe at the pro race at all. Like the pros are just chill, like we're all just warming up together. I mean, some people are pretty focused, but we're not like, I don't know. I feel like we just aren't as tense. I don't know.
Yeah, I think most people were really nice. Like if I'm pushing through 100 people and two of them kind of don't let me through, I'm gonna think more about those two people. But I'm sure it was fine. There was a few people that I don't know, that were just kind of in their own zone too, maybe, and just weren't being as like focused on letting everyone move around as much. But yeah, I think the drafting stuff was I've only seen that really in like the high levels of open water.
Hmm.
They like have to trim your nails at big open water meets because people will scratch each other to death. So
Yeah, yeah.
luckily, I was kind of getting those vibes. It was very like Sharky, where people were kind of like really focused on where they were positionally, which I found for an age group field. I thought that was pretty. I mean, I was honestly impressed because that is some really advanced like strategy in terms of. I mean, and it is effective if you can draft off somebody properly and you are in that draft. It's extremely strong. It's just like cycling. So, I get where the defensiveness, the territorialness comes from. But yeah, in that case, I wasn't trying to steal anyone's draft, so that was the funny mix up. But
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so Kyle swam, let's look at it, 23:31 for his first 70.3, and I think the top pros were like 22:40, but again, they start like a little bit further in the water, so and they like work together pretty solid, so it's a little bit different of a dynamic. All the pro men start in the same time. They're not like spaced out like the age group stuff, so it's a little different dynamic. But yeah, that's super solid. So you do this main set. You said it was 8x200s. You did this about a week before. What kind of paces are you hitting for these 8 200s? It's long course. Like, what effort level are you shooting for on those?
yeah, so I just kind of wanted to mimic the Santa Cruz swim. I wanted to hold a 110 pace was the goal, while not like really burning it like all my matches really hard. And I knew that like the wetsuit would be nice to help me a little bit, but considering it like mostly filled with water and I was kind of having issues with like weaving through people and stuff, I figured it would cancel the wetsuit and like the open water, race like environment would kind of cancel each other out. So if I could be holding 110 in a pool pace, then it would probably be a good indication I could hold it out in the open water. So I did 8 200s on 220 long course, just freestyle, just pretty much just make it. But I even though I don't think it's good to be checking a watch, I did after every two I checked my heart rate just at the wall and that was it, not my time, nothing like that. I was using a timer clock at the top and I was just making sure I left every
Mm-hmm.
220 or so. That puts me right at 110 pace. Well, actually a little bit faster because I have to get to the wall a few seconds early to push off again. So I was probably going maybe 108 pace or something like that
Yeah.
for it. But considering I had a flip turn and I can push off the walls, it's a little bit advantageous there. So I think it was roughly, what I wanted to swim in terms of feel for Santa Cruz. So I do feel like my heart rate, like I kept it under 170, which was nice. Like I definitely got pretty high, but I thought it was like a solid, fairly aggressive pace for Santa Cruz. And I think it would definitely be just kind of a nice like set for anybody to do that wants to just kind of get a feel of how long that swim's going to feel because 1600 meters is close to exactly how long that swim's going to be. It'll probably be a tad bit longer, but yeah, I thought it was just really good for just kind of knowing how the swim leg was going to feel and like what that was going to do to my body. And so I didn't overdo it when I was going to get on the bike and run because yeah, adjusting to a 4 hour race is definitely not something I'm used to doing. So.
Yeah, for sure. So how did you feel getting onto that bike ride after the swim?
Um, so yeah, I got out of the swim. I entered transition. There was a really long transition. It was on cobblestone and I was barefoot. And so I was no age groupers passed me on the transition, but they going into the area, a bunch of the pro women went flying by me.
Yeah.
Maybe my excuse is that they were lighter and the cobblestone didn't hurt their feet as much. Yeah. I had a pretty slow transition because I was keeping it really easy jogging over there. I saw my friend Jude, who also signed up with me for the race. He had like a 24-minute split, so and then he had like a $400, road bike or whatever. So he was gone. We waved to each other, and he had his fun. But yeah, I felt really, really solid. I felt cooled down from the water, got the wetsuit off, got on the bike, and everything was going really well. Forgot to put on my the sunglasses onto the bike pretty late, but other than
Oh,
that,
okay, nice.
yeah, it was fun, and then since I was first, I could count how many people were going by me that were age groupers, so at least I was able to keep track of who had passed me, which was kind of cool.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome. Yeah, and you had a solid bike split, 222 for your first 70.3 bike. How did that feel? Like, was it? I know you were like a little nervous before. You're like, oh, I might have to stop and get off the bike.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, it stopped time. I was very, I think the race energy and the adrenaline kind of carried me through it. My transitions were great. I had to grab a few water bottles, a few gels, and I just kind of I had a little draft pack. I was, trying to legally draft. I didn't get a penalty, so I guess that means I was doing something right. But
yeah.
um, yeah, my draft pack didn't ever have to stop. They were really like dedicated. They must have had everything on their bike. So when I would slow down, I would like grab the water, and I'm not very comfortable with my right hand because I'm left-handed. So I would grab the opposite over the bike, and it was like so I had to really slow down. But I grabbed all the water bottles. I never dropped one. Was able to fill up my stuff okay, and then I was able to catch back up to my draft group pretty easily after that. So I think yeah, not having to get off the bike was, even though it sounds trivial, I was very proud that I didn't have to put my foot on the ground. So I'll take it. Take the wins where I can get them. But
Yeah, that's one thing that when I did my first 70.3 in July, the 12-meter draft is like actually kind of wild. Like when you get a couple people in front of you, it makes
oh
a
my
big
gosh.
difference. Like 12 meters, the way I think about it is it's like half the length of a short course pool, you know? 12 and a
Yeah.
half meters. It's exactly half the length of a short course pool, which like is not that far, when you
Yeah,
think
especially
about
on
it.
a downhill, like, or a really
Yeah.
gentle flat where it's like you're moving pretty quick, like that you feel that pull, like right away when you're in that slipstream. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you see all the pros on like the Ironman coverage, and it seems like they're pretty close together, but they're not like dishing out penalties to everyone. So, yeah,
no, yeah.
it's pretty wild. But yeah, I think that's solid 222 for the bike. And yeah, when you came off the bike, were you like amped? Or you're like, I'm gonna run a 120 half marathon.
Yeah, I was ready for my 120 half marathon. All my training had said that I was going to go really fast. I was running 7-minute pace, and it felt like I was walking at a certain point, and I was like, my confidence was at an all-time high.
Oh
Got off,
yeah.
no cramping, nothing going on. And then after like mile four, I just completely, I
10,
wasn't even
10 miles to go. 10 miles to
yeah,
go.
it's like, uh-oh. Like mile three, I kind of hit the peak of the run. That was the only fun mile because I was like, now I'm warmed up. Like everything's starting to feel smooth. But then in the back of my head, I'm like, something bad's coming. And so I think I was just a little dehydrated. And then after like I think mile seven was when I took my first walk. And then after that, it really went downhill. I started walking a lot. And I caught up to one of the pro women. It was the only person I caught during the whole run. I'd only gotten passed by like over 100 people. It was so demoralizing. Finally, I saw somebody walking in front of me, and so I jogged over, and then I walked next to them up the hill, and I was like, "Oh, so you're walking too?" Like, and then finally I found a buddy, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm just really tired." I'm like, "Yeah, so am I."
That's
That was like the
awesome.
only moment of peace I had in the race to find somebody else walking with me. But
Do
after
you
that.
wait? Do you know what her name was? Do you remember?
No, but I probably could find it based off time and stuff like that. But
Okay, nice.
she had her coach came by. He was on course. He ran over to her and like he motivated her, and then she was gone. I was like, oh, there she goes.
You did try running with her?
Well, no, her base pace, like when I would jog, I would just kind of settle into like an 8-minute pace, and then when I would walk, I was probably walking at like a 12 to 13-minute mile pace. And her walk was kind of slower than mine, but her running like pace she would settle into when she would start running was like a 7-minute pace, so she would run faster than me, and I couldn't keep up. It was
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
a terrible run split though. For anyone that's wondering, it was like a 155 or 156 or something.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, but you were first fastest swim out of the age group race, and you had the second fastest bike in your age group. So you were like sitting top 15 for like the majority of the race in the age
Yeah,
group field.
I think I was top six in the age group field until the run started, and then I went to like 170th or something. I
Yeah, that's
think I
okay. Hey, it's your first one. You learned
was,
a lot. So
yeah.
I think that's pretty relatable. And Yeah, it was fun. It was fun tracking you on the app. I wish I could have been there in person.
I know you'll crush it when you get back into it though.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah,
Um,
swimmers that are thinking about doing triathlon, I'm not going to say you're going to end up in my position, but the running takes a while to get used to. So just be patient. I'm trying to be patient. It's not easy, and I think runners think the same thing about swimming. So just know you guys aren't alone.
yeah,
Anyway,
for sure.
yeah, what were you saying, Nate?
Yeah, do you have any like final thoughts and stuff before we close it out?
Not much. I mean, yeah, just kind of back to the set since that's the main focus.
Yeah.
I just finished out that set, got a little warm down in. If you guys ever want to do it, it's just 8 twos long course. Like you can make a modification, obviously, make it on your interval. Try to give yourself at least a few seconds of rest, if you want. A great set to do, very simple, easy to remember. So, yeah, just feel free to try it, see how it goes. It doesn't hurt. It's not anything genius. So, but it was definitely a fun way to kind of get prepared for something like this. So, yeah, I don't think I have much else to comment on with all that. But I'm glad you guys got to hear my triathlon story. That was a fun one. But
Yeah, that's awesome. Hopefully we'll have some more before the end of the year. Yeah, sweet. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys like this episode, share it with your friends, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one.